a lot and appreciates the genre and understands how it should work. A good editor can tell you what you've done wrong and oftentimes how to fix it.
Yes, sir.
So those three things have helped me a huge amount with my writing, and they're about all I know about writing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I have a couple of questions, if I may. Were you homeschooled throughout?
Yes, I was homeschooled my entire life. My mother was a trained Montessori teacher, and so she started educating my sister and me starting when we were born. And we ended up getting several grades ahead by the time we were old enough for first grade in public school. And because our birthdays are also late in the year, that means we would have been dropped back an additional grade in addition to the ones we were already ahead. So all those elements combined to convince my mom and my dad that they didn't want to hold us back and that they were willing to make the sacrifice to educate us at home. However, when we reached high school, my sister and I were enrolled in an accredited distance learning high school called American School, which is fully accredited with all the universities and colleges.
Sure.
And we went through their course material then for high school and ended up getting a regular diploma that way.
So when you speak of learning English, a good command of the English language, you did follow a set curriculum from a school, and do you recall what that was?
Well, we only followed a set curriculum once we were in high school. And that, as I mentioned, that school is called American School. It's actually over 100 years old, and a lot of people who travel, diplomats, celebrities, use it for their children because you can work on it anywhere. A good command of the English language is, I think it's dependent on reading a lot, which my parents were very insistent on, writing, of course, and just taking a joy in words. In fact, I just learned a new word today when I was writing on Book 2, Eldest. I came across a word. Now, what was the word? A bum rate. I can't even remember it now. But it meant shadowed and obscure, and it was a very interesting word.
Christopher, how structured were you in your homeschooling?
Well, it varied. When our education became more and more structured the older we became. When my sister and I were very young, Mom presented our lessons, if you will, as she presented it as play. She made it fun. So there were all sorts of projects that we did, physical projects. It might be anything from counting pasta or doing finger painting or watching an interesting video from the library on plants or animals, sounding out phonics. Whatever she did, she made it fun. And it was fairly unstructured, although she made sure that we worked at it quite regularly. But then as we got older, and of course the subjects became more complex, then leading into high school, our education became more regimented.
But you did graduate when you were 15, is that correct?
Oh, yes. And in fact, my sister was so determined to to beat me that she graduated at 14.
How many hours a day did it take you to graduate at 15 and your sister at 14?
It really only took me the usual 4 years to go through high school. I just managed to start earlier than most people because, working at home, we didn't take, for example, summer breaks every year. We'd take breaks when we needed to and when we felt like it, but there weren't, many months taken off each year.
Have you found that homeschooling seems to be quite a bit faster than classroom learning and that it takes less time to accomplish more?
Well, one, you don't have to spend a lot of time running from one classroom to the next. That in and of itself saves time. For me, one of the biggest advantages of homeschooling was being able to concentrate on the subjects that I was interested in. There are certain base subjects. There are certain base subjects that you have to be everyone has to be acquainted with. Math, language, reading, writing, geography, history, that sort of stuff. But then homeschooling allows you then to explore whatever you might be interested beyond that.
Were you a TV-free family or a video game family?
Actually, we did not have television growing up, and it wasn't through any conscious choice. It was because we live in an area where, because of the way the landscape is shaped, we don't get television reception. So,
Very good.
however, we did watch movies. We would watch a movie a night, and Mom and Dad actually considered that as important as education in books or literature or music. And we've been doing that for a long time now. So every evening we'll gather around the television and have dinner and watch a movie.
Any particular type of movie?
Let's see.
Were they all educational shows, or were they just a variety of, some Disney, some educational, some adventure?
Complete variety. I'll give you an example. In the past 3 days, we have watched The Simpsons.
Yay!
We watched The Simpsons. We went from The Simpsons to Bulletproof Monk to People Will Talk with Cary Grant.
Oh, very highbrow.
So it varies from day to day. One day we might watch an extremely obscure 70s martial arts flick starring Jackie Chan, and the next day it might be All About Eve or something.
What type of support did you have from your family that you attribute to your success? And what can we learn from that, and what type of support can we show our homeschool children?
Well, in our family at least, family comes first. Family is everything. I would not be talking to you right now without family. Aragon would not be published without the support of my parents. As I said, my mom and dad were very supportive of whatever we showed an interest in. If we wanted to paint, if we wanted to write, if we wanted to, whatever we wanted to do, they tried to make it possible so that we could explore that interest.
You're lucky.
I am. I'm extremely lucky. And the amazing thing is when I handed the manuscript of Aragon over to Mom and Dad, they made the decision, and it still kind of stuns me that they had the courage to make this decision. They decided to put the entire family business behind Aragon.
Oh, that's
and, they
awesome.
spent an entire year working on the book to get it ready for publication, and during that year they didn't make any other money that they might have made from other financial ventures. And then they took the book on the road and with me. And I'll tell you, we, to use the cliche, we bet the farm on it. And if Aragon had taken another few months to start turning a profit, we were going to have to, sell the house, move to a city, get regular jobs. So it was. I owe everything to my family.
Your parents.
Financial success made a big difference in your...
Excuse me?
Has the financial success of your project made a big difference in your life?
Well, I'll tell you, the biggest difference is you don't have as much anxiety, and that's nice.
As Forrest Gump says, one last thing to worry about.
Yeah, but as far as things have actually changed at home, our family life is pretty much the same.
I'd like to ask another question real quick.
Drawing on... Oh. Go ahead.
Please, go ahead. I decided not to put us into lecture mode because you all have such wonderful manners. So go ahead and ask the question.
On the comparisons with Tolkien again, let me ask you, this cannot be considered in any way an allegory, Christian or otherwise, to modern-day themes, or what do you think about that?
Well, good question. A number of authors have used fantasy as an allegory or as a Christian or otherwise. I'm thinking of C.S. Lewis here, Tolkien.
Yeah.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, you have Philip Pullman.
I love Phil Pullman.
Excuse me?
I love Phil Pullman. He's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite book is Dark Materials.
Yeah, I almost got to meet him when I was in Britain.
That's so cool.
Did you meet J.K. Rowling?
But anyway, when I wrote Aragon, though, I didn't try to reference the real world in any way. I set out to try and create a completely self-contained world, and within that world, then to explore the issues that we all deal with. Life, death, the universe. Why are we here? What are we doing? How can we live honorably and justly? and hopefully then book 2 and book